So guys, with the release of the new Girafarig evolution Farigiraf or Farigiraf, I'm gonna say Farigiraf before anyone like starts saying something, because if it's Girafarig, why is it not Farigiraf? But I guess English is gonna come into play there. But either way, Farigiraf, Girafarig's evolution has been revealed. So that leaves Girafarig in a pretty unique situation now, since it's now a first stage evolution Pokemon, which means that is viable to be legal in Little Cup, which is pretty fun. So we're gonna be going over the potential viability of Girafarig in Generation 9 LC. And if you guys do enjoy this video, please subscribe to the channel for more content. A lot of stuff is going to be happening in Generation 9, so hopefully you guys are along for the ride. But either way, yeah, so we're going to be talking about Girafarig in the scope of LC. Obviously, with Farigiraf coming along, that means Girafarig is now a first stage evolution, which means it's viable to be in LC. Obviously, at the time when Gen 9 comes out, LC Council might just be like, yeah, Girafarig ain't coming here, because realistically, for 8 generations, it was a fully evolved Pokemon. So things like that is definitely, it definitely probably won't be LC, but it's still nice to theory craft. It could have potential, but that's what we're basically going to be covering in this video. So let's look at Girafarig's stats. Now, I've been looking over it a little bit before recording this video, and I won't lie to you guys, it's looking grim for Girafarig's viability in LC, in the sense that this one might be a bit too much for the tier. Now, obviously, I can't theory craft the metal, which I don't know the full extent of, or the Pokemon that are possibly going to be in Generation 9 Little Cup. So, in the scope of Generation 8, which might, help you guys understand why Girafarig would be a bit too much for the tier. Yeah, so we're basically just going to see how Girafarig does in Generation 8 Little Cup and go from there, to be honest. Who knows, it might get some new tools in Generation 9, but for now, as Girafarig stands, how would it fare as a Little Cup Pokemon overall? Now, the first important thing in Little Cup is obviously speed tiers. Now, Girafarig has base 85 speed, which means that it manages to hit 19 in Little Cup. Now, there isn't a lot of Pokemon that reach 19. At the top of my head, there's obviously things like Abra, Grookey hits. Nah, Grookey does not hit 19 speed, my bad. Abra hits 19. Like, we could just do the speed tiers here. This is very helpful, honestly. But what reaches 19 in Little Cup, you're probably wondering. You have the Ponyta forms, which reach 19. Poliwag doesn't really exist. Meowth is a Pokemon in Little Cup. But as you can see, there isn't much Pokemon that hit this 19 speed tier. I think Minchino's 18, but either way, it starts at Magby pretty much. Magby and above, up until Elekid and Diglett. These are the only Pokemon that reach 19 speed. Now, obviously, not every mon is in Gen 8, so like realistically, there's probably some other ones that hit 19 speed, but you're already in a speed tier where it's pretty much like uncontested. Like there isn't too many Pokemon that reach 19 that are that common. So Girafarig being at 19 speed for an offensive one is pretty solid already. Now, 90 special attack. Now, offensive stats don't play too much into Little Cup, at least from my experience, because you still reach 18 special attack, which doesn't mean too much, but if you combine it with the speed tier that Girafarig is possessing, it becomes a very dangerous Pokemon. Now, normal Psychic obviously does Joffrey no favors in terms of defensiveness. Like, you get a ghost immunity, which is nice, I suppose. You're a somewhat Ghastly check if Ghastly's gonna be legal in Generation 9 LC. It's obviously banned in Gen 8, but yeah, your ghost immunity, and yeah, that's all Psychic is giving you. You lose your fighting resist, which is so and so at the same time, but yeah, normal Psychic doesn't do anything for Joffrey defensively. Now, what I believe pushes this Pokemon over the edge is obviously access to Nasty Plot. Now, having a 19 speed Pokemon, basically having an Abra, having Nasty Plot is kind of insane, especially if you pair it with its options with Psychic and T-Bolt. Now, I've done, the coverage checks and all that, and surprisingly, I've not done the coverage checks. Or have I? No, I haven't. So let's look at what resists Psychic and what resists Electric, for example. Let's actually see how many Pokemon in LC so far resist that combination. Now, looking at these options, some of these mons are good, obviously, like Ferroseed, Magnemite, very standard Little Cup Pokemon. Then you have some lesser seen Pokemon like Dino, which obviously can get hit by Hyper Voice. Baltoy also in the same situation. And then Sandile also gets hit by Hyper Voice. So realistically, out of all of these, Ferroseed and Magnemite are obviously the only good nasty plot check that Girafarig has. Now, seen on the opposite side of the spectrum, on the physical side, Girafarig has Earthquake, so Magnemite is not a check to you know Girafarig, especially if rocks up and if it's sturdy. Now, Girafarig can easily probably tech Earthquake to hit Ferroseed as well, since Ferroseed is not resisting ground attacks as well. And coming off of 80 attack, all you have to do is really go like speed boost in nature that doesn't drop either of your offensive stats, naive or hasty, and then like invest like minus special attack slightly, and then invest in attack. You still reach 16 attack, which will do decent damage with a life orb. So overall, it just seems like Girafarig is nigh unwallable. Realistically, like it sets up nasty plot, or it just straight up attacks something, and there really isn't any consistent defensive counterplay for that. Now, if you're looking at the whole national deck so far, like obviously we're skipping mons that are not in Generation 8, but if we look at the coverage options here, this list doesn't really change too much. It doesn't change anything at all. Like the list still stays the same so far. So yeah, Joffrey has no consistent defensive counterplay in Little Cup. Not going to lie to you. Obviously, mons like probably Bronzo also takes a hit, but Bronzo isn't a Pokemon in Little Cup. There's probably some other niche things that could potentially take a hit, but your whole team viability is going down if you're using things like Bronzo. And obviously Girafarig has teammates which can easily abuse the fact of like Bronzo, for example. Like Little Cup is very centralized. You have your top tier threats, things like Mienfoo, anything would knocking off things Eviolites. Girafarig kind of will just break through certain things. Now, in terms of set versatility as well, Girafarig isn't only locked in to run what do you call it, nasty plot. Obviously, as I said, 80 attack, it can easily go on the physical side as well, with moves such as Psychic Fangs, Earthquake, Double Edge. Very strong attacks coming from Girafarig's 80 attack, and yeah, even Sucker Punch. Like that's kind of insane to think about. Like trying to revenge kill things. Like even the steel types that want to switch into Girafarig's, like normal Psychic. The most common example, Pawniard, you obviously resist Psychic and you resist normal, but obviously you don't resist Earthquake, which is gonna 2-hit KO you insanely. And then like it has Sucker Punch, but obviously you can swap out. There's no pursuit. Like Girafarig is so free in whatever move it clicks, it doesn't even matter, to be honest. And at this rate, I say Protect as the last move, because I was looking at things like things that can obviously revenge kill Girafarig. You have Fake Out from Mienfoo, which obviously you have in the focus, so you don't have to worry about the flinching, but you're still taking Fake Out damage, so being careful of that. And there's also Grookey's Grassy Glide. If that manages to get into Generation 9, Grassy Glide is going to be something very annoying to deal with. Now, I mentioned these two specifically because one covers Fake Out flinching and one covers a grass type priority move. Girafarig has two very solid abilities, Inner Focus and Sap Sipper. Inner Focus obviously prevents being flinched, prevents Intimidate. I don't even think there's any Intimidate mons at the top of my head in Little Cup, so yeah, that's a snubble I suppose, but that mon doesn't really exist in Little Cup. And yeah, so not being able to get flinched by Mienfoo is probably the biggest thing in my opinion, and also Sap Sipper. And there's a 50-50 of which one you really want to choose. Obviously, Sap Sipper will boost Girafarig's attack, which even makes the physical sets way more scary to deal with. Can switch into Fungus Spore, Giga Drain from, let's look at the viability rankings. Grassy Guy from Grookey, like Spore from Morlul, for example, and then Cottony, Leech Seed as well. Like Girafarig getting Sap Sipper on the physical set is very, very scary to try and wall again, because at +1 I'm pretty sure a lot of things will just straight up die. So yeah, overall Girafarig is going to be quite broken, at least in the context of Generation 8 Little Cup. Girafarig would be too broken for the tier, definitely would get insta-banned. And in Generation 9, unless something big comes in Generation 9 that somehow first stage evolution that somehow would deal with Girafarig on the defensive side, yeah, there's no way this one's going to be allowed in LC in Generation 9 either. So yeah, it's pretty cool that we got a new Girafarig evolution overall. That mon definitely needed something. A lot of Generation 2 Pokemon need some major upgrades, whether that's stat boosts or evolution. And Girafarig is one of those mons that's been waiting for that for over 20 years. So it's good that, it got this evolution. But it will not see the light of day in Little Cup. Not going to lie, this mon is going to be way too broken. But yeah, if you enjoyed this video, just let me Let me know down below in the comment section what you think of Red Giraffe as an evolution, and if you think I'm wrong about Girafarig being broken in Little Cup. At this rate, I don't think this one's broken. I don't think this one will be in a balanced at all in Little Cup. Like, it's too fast, it hits too hard, it hits on both sides of physical and special, and also has set up a nasty plot. Like, you can't be telling me this one is not going to be broken in Little Cup. It definitely is. But yeah, thank you guys for watching this video again, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.